Three, two, one. Welcome to Real Hospitality Live. Every once in a while in life, you think you're doing really well and you've got the coolest job in the world, and then you meet my next guest, Jay Ashton. Jay Ashton is the National Business Resource Lead for Sysco Canada, and he does indeed have the coolest job in the world. How you doing, Jay?
I'm doing great. I'm having a blast.
I remember our first conversation, and you told me that, and I went, really? Now tell me why.
And then 2 hours later.
I know. And that's how these things happen with us. So I think we're going to have a good time today. How did you get into doing this? And tell me about your department.
Well, where do I start, right? So this is exciting for me. I'm actually in Calgary today. I'm in the kitchen where this all started, right? We started here 13 years ago, I think. And really sitting in this exact same spot, talking with thousands of customers about their business and how we can help them out, and really, listening to our customers. So I started, about 13 years ago in this department, business resources, as we call it today. Back then it was business review, but I started here about 13 years ago, and we just really been evolving ever since. And, one of the things I love to do was really help our customers. Obviously, Cisco's in the business of selling food, and we're the largest distributor in the world. But it was one of the things that I love doing was really working with our customers on menus and recipes and ideas and things like that, that I really got into the passion of the service that we offered our customers. So from there, I moved it down to Calgary, managed the department here in Calgary for probably too long, as the guys are in the audience here. But probably about 6 or 7 years, and then I moved into corporate and really saw this passion with our president, Randy White, for Cisco Canada, our president, and just mentioned to him, it'd be awesome to bring our teams together, work as a team across this country and develop business resources for our customers across Canada. So from there, it's just been a roller coaster ride of fun and excitement. I do have the best job in this industry. I do have the best team in this industry as well across Canada, and I'm totally blessed what I can do.
So tell me a little bit more about the department, because you guys are consulting and business support and all of these things. When you say Cisco to somebody in the industry, they think somebody who drives a food truck.
Yeah.
Food delivery truck. And by the way, do they let you drive the truck?
No, they don't. Not yet. I do have a story on that. We'll get back to that later.
Let's do
There's going to be a lot of stories.
Okay.
But you know what? We're coast to coast. So we're the largest food service consulting firm in Canada. We are from St. John's all the way to Victoria. We have 16 culinary centers across Canada. We've got about 80 people on our team. Everyone from consultants that help our customers with their business acumen, their business needs. We've got about 30 corporate chefs across this country. We've got marketing managers. We've got specialists. We have such an array of people on our team from coast to coast. And we have customers in kitchens like this every day across this country. So, we visit with them. We have them in these rooms, these kitchens, where our chefs show them ideas for 2 to 3 hours at a time and really get to showcase. And surprisingly, so in a year, we meet with about 6,000 different customers a year across Canada, and each one of them is different, right? Each session's different, which is so cool, right? We believe in non-cookie cutter approach, but our chefs do all the work. Each time our customer comes in there, they're going to get a different experience, a different thing around their business. It's all catered to their needs and what they're focusing on within their business. We're trying to help them in those areas. So that is, what I say is that there's just no one else out there doing something like this. And I'm just so proud of what these teams do across the country.
Well, it's great for restaurateurs and chefs to have access to you and your team. And your network alone is of course, North America, worldwide, all of these things. If somebody wants something, they can get it through you guys, or at least get a few samples or get some cooking ideas to maybe help them with recipes. It's awesome.
Yeah, you know what? We do everything. not only recipes, but it's really around the innovations. We'll have customers in here and we'll work on even plating, how to plate the food properly, knife skills, where some of our chefs will teach people knife skills, food safety classes, right? Webinars, as we'll talk later about our webinars, right, where we're bringing in guests, and we're also doing kind of like we're doing today, but we're bringing in guests from all over the country to really provide that additional service to our customers on providing that education for them, right? But it is something that there's no one in the industry doing this, and if there was, we don't know of it, right? And we're so proud of how the customers respond, how they actually have now built their business models around what we do and work together as true partners, right? And that's one of the big philosophies we have within Cisco, is making sure that we're working together with our customers, right? We're partnering with them is something that we always say in Cisco, and we truly are with this department here.
That's awesome. Now, you guys, of course, you said you're from coast to coast, but each different kitchen is different, and each different region is different. I know we've had that conversation, and we even had a conversation about how even in Quebec, where the culinary is a little bit different, and you have that opportunity to touch with that maybe different cultural look at food, and the same thing on the West Coast and the East Coast and in between. Let's talk a little bit about the different regions.
You know what? If we don't talk about each of my teams, they're going to call me later or text me later.
Hate mail.
So I will get emails before we go off the hook, because I'm so proud of each one of them, right? So we have Barbara. Barbara Bell takes care of our BC region, which is really, we have locations in Kelowna, Vancouver, and Victoria. She's got an amazing team out there of chefs and consultants, just unbelievable. And she's doing a lot of these education forums, right? They call them their Ed series, and they just have such an amazing group of talent out there. And then in Alberta here, my future, and he's gonna poke his head in here, and my my work wife, and sorry,
I love them.
and yeah, this is where it all started. So these are my boys here, and then we have a team up in Edmonton. So Chris Brent takes care of our Alberta region here. And this is where it all started. So I have such a good tie here, and this is where I lived. I love Alberta. And then we have our prairies. We got Greg Prokowicz in Winnipeg. He takes care of Winnipeg and Regina, and we got a facility downtown Saskatoon, by the way, in Saskatoon as well as Regina. And he takes care of that region for us as well. And you know what? They have such an amazing team too. And we have Kevin Penner out there. Kevin's our host for our Webinar Wednesdays, as long as Greg as well. By the way, Barbara will be doing some of our Webinar Wednesday hosts this fall on some amazing sessions we have coming up. And then we got Angela.
Pause you for a second. As you're talking about Webinar Wednesday, what we'll do is we'll put a link in on the recorded program so that everybody can come and check out Webinar Wednesday on an ongoing basis. You guys have some great guests coming up. And I really want to speak to that. So I sort of cut you off, but I wanted to make sure that they can link right to it from us.
It's pretty cool. So, and then we got Angeline Best. She takes care of our Northern Ontario team, and her name is what she is. She's the best at it. She's amazing. We also got Gary Potvin. He takes care of Toronto and Southwest Ontario. He's our Director of Business Resources for that region, and he's also, I'm grooming him for guest speaking right now, and Gary, if he's on and watching us, he'll text me later, but he's doing a lot of our additional things that we're doing with associations across the country as well. Because our teams not only do these things within our facilities, but we also take care of our associations across Canada. We got an amazing team in Quebec. Frank out there is taking care of our team, and we've got Patricia and Adam. They're killing it every day within what they're doing in the Quebec area, because you know what? Quebec and Montreal love food more than anyone. They're just incredible. They have the passion. Not that the rest of Canada doesn't, but they have such an immense passion for food. I just love visiting and working with them as well. And then we got Kim out in Atlantic Canada. And I tell you, it is the most most hospitality you'll get ever if you go to Atlantic Canada and meet with her team. We got chefs in Moncton. We got chefs in Halifax, and also up in St. John's. And that is our team. And then you pack everyone in there. It's incredible, right? So there's just, that is what we get to work with every day. And I get to work along the most talented chefs in Canada by far, right? And that's what we get to do, right? So that's our team from coast to coast. If I missed anyone, I apologize. But we have such an amazing team, and I'm so proud
This
of
is
it.
the part where we play the music like on the Oscars, where you music off.
Yeah, but that would be like, or not the wrap it up one, right?
That's right.
No, it is awesome to see, and to see what they do is amazing. But to see their passion and their innovation come through on what they're doing to help our customers with their business. We have a customer first mindset within Cisco, and it's something that, you know, we live and breathe, is taking care of our customers, and we're putting them first and foremost in anything we do, is to see this team doing this. And we've been doing this for a long time within Cisco, but to see them doing this every day, trying something different, sharing with me a simple email or presentation they're doing, or an event they're doing, like Michael Adet's doing out in Vancouver there, with his side dish events that he's doing, with our Barbara Bell doing our raw events, and Gary hosting raw events in Ontario, where we're doing food shows where we're stripping away the banners and that corporate look and really getting down to the earth of what our customers are looking for from us, and connecting in a different way than we've ever done before. So to see these teams every day pushing that boundary and pushing what we need to do to provide that additional service and value, but also just to enjoy what they're doing, right? And I believe they all love what they do as well.
Well, with that amount of talent and that amount of resource and network and the whole thing, it's amazing what you guys have. Here's the question: how do you access it?
Say that again, Jason. Sorry.
If I'm a small business operator and I need help, how do I find out about this ginormous library of talent?
You know what? There's a couple ways. Is definitely working with their sales rep is the first start. Is one of the first starts to do that, and that's where we also link in our sales reps or marketing associates into the activity. We want to make them, because they see the customer every day or every week, they're connected with them as much as, probably more than anyone. And we want to make sure they're in the loop what we do with our customers, right? It's so important that they're connected through that avenue. And then we also have so that is definitely a way that we want our customers, and even our customers that are maybe not customers yet, is to contact our sales department and to then be opened up to this opportunity to work with our teams. That is definitely an avenue there. And then the other avenue is really around using the sources that have out there with Webinar Wednesdays, right? Is where we're opening up to everyone in the industry, is really what we do within our webinars. You know, the one big thing that we talked about, and we have an article coming out in our next Foodie magazine about our Webinar Wednesdays, is really talking about, we want to create the TED Talks of the food service industry. Mm-hmm. That's our goal with them. We're not trying to make an info commercial. I always say to our guests, I'm not trying to make another shopping channel. We have one of those already within Canada, but we just really want to create and allow our guests that we have on our shows just talk about different things that our customers are looking for. So there's really those two avenues is the best to do it. But the best part is sign up with Cisco, join our family, join our community, and then you get these amazing services that we offer through our department.
I have to speak to that comment too. I mean, as far as being given access, I'll give you my personal story, and I want to give a shout out to my buddy Rob Sayre in Vancouver, who's been it was my first Cisco rep 100 years ago, and he brought me into the fold and walked me through food costing, brought me to the test kitchen. I've been through this experience, and I've bragged about it for 15 years, and all thanks to Rob and guys like him with your team. I mean, I had been put in a position where I needed all of this information. I had no idea where the hell I was going to find it, and I connected with Rob Sayre, and he was, like I said, he was there every day and impressed the hell out of me. And to this day, 15 years later, I still tell the story. So I love that this is available for small businesses. It's not just for the big guys to chum up with other big guys. This is a vast resource for small operators who really need to have access to this type of information.
And just to jump in there, Jason, is we've done everything from church to arenas to hospitals, to care homes, retirement homes. We've done everything in between that our teams take care of as well, right? And then also we work a lot with our national customers across Canada, our chains. We do a lot with them as well. But you're absolutely right. We do everything from the big companies to the little guys and everything in between. It's really simple. Is anywhere you can eat food away from home?
Yeah.
Our teams can help you with it. Right?
Yeah. Fantastic. Now you guys are also doing some innovation in your kitchens, which you've just begun the process. We won't get into the details, but it's really cool, some of the stuff you're doing, and maybe on a different show we'll talk about it. One of the programs that you and I have briefly discussed, and I really want the opportunity to do this because this is front of mind with a lot of people, with the industry as well. You are promoting a mental health in kitchens program, which you have my support 1,000% with this. It's called Fair Kitchens, and I really want the opportunity so that we don't lose time today. Let's touch on that now.
Okay, cool. Well, Fair Kitchens is started by Unilever, so I do have to do a shout out to Unilever and my folks over and our partners with Unilever. They've created a movement that is so dear to me, and it's something that I'm trying not to get emotional today on this, but is really around how important it is to allow people to work in kitchens without having to worry about working in a kitchen. Jason, you probably remember back in the days working in kitchens where it was almost scary as a young kid starting in a kitchen where you didn't know if you're going to be hollered at or screamed at or a pot thrown at you, which all those things have happened to me in kitchens when I started in this industry.
You were pretty sure that was going to happen when I started.
Exactly. Who told you when you got hired that you were going to go into a battle, right?
Yeah.
In the kitchen. So it was something that when Unilever came to me and told me about this, I said when and where, and let's get involved. So it is something that I'm dear with it. I think mental illness within the industry is not talked about enough, right? We have a lot of chefs out there that struggle with this, as well as myself, right? I put out on LinkedIn the other day just going through this as Cisco supported mental illness day on Thursday a few weeks ago or last week. We supported that movement, and it was so important to me. And I posted on LinkedIn just really talking about myself going through this recently and the dark areas that, my support channels pulled me out of that are probably on the call today. They're the world to me, but it's really about pulling this industry and letting people know that it is such an amazing industry that you should never worry about going to work. You should never worry about working in the kitchens, and just having a place that you can develop and grow into, and then maybe one day you get to lead this amazing team across the country, right? And that is where I think Fair Kitchens and what Unilever has done here is they built one of the most, respected or ideas within this program that I have ever seen in my 30 years in this industry. I'm proud of them for doing this. I'm proud that Cisco stepped up in supporting them, North American wide, company wide within Fair Kitchens. What we do on Fridays is we want our chefs wearing the Fair Kitchen logos on their shirts to support that movement. All our chefs are supporting it from coast to coast. We're very proud of it as well. So it is something that I think we need to talk more about. We need to talk more about mental illness within this industry. Is not a bad thing, right? I'm not a bad guy. I'm not messed up, and I don't think so yet. But he might argue with me on that. But you can get through these things, and I think we need to let people know that there's people who care out there, and it's cliche a lot of the times when people say that, but they truly are caring. And it was a tough time through this summer, and I tell you, to have a boss that is amazing, but also to have a team that I have to work within where our department falls under. It's awesome to be able to have that support channel, to call you late at night or to text you late at night, to talk to you on the weekends outside of work. That is what we get to work within Cisco, but also within our department, right? It's awesome.
Well, when we talk about the environment too, we talk about kitchens and restaurants. We spend, 8 to 16 hours a day with a group of people who you spend more time than with your own family, right? And I teach this in that there's a place in hospitality for everyone. If you are an artist, there's a place for you. If you are um, an aspiring chef, if you are an accountant, if you whatever it is that your interest is, there's a place for you within the industry, and also within kitchens, there's a place for you. We're gone are the days where as we talk about the heydays of nasty, yelling, violent kitchens. Those are starting to go to the wayside. I'm not gonna pretend that they don't exist anymore, because they do. But to have a support system and to educate management on mental illness and how that affects your staff, and maybe somebody's not at the top of their game today because they're just not at the top of their game, right? It's something else going on.
Yeah, and you think about it, is these chefs work like such long hours, and they work so hard, and they're working in hot environments, and they're putting out their passion, right? They're true artists, and they're putting their passions out on their plates and stuff like that. So you're constantly delivering your passion and really speaking through your food. You're doing that every day, and you're doing it for long hours, right? It does. You do need time to sit back, and very rarely you'll see them having that moment. It's either at the bar having a beer, and they don't really have that avenue to sit there and decompress from that intense day, right? And it might be a day of half the day is online, and you're working really rough on orders and all that. The rest is you're prepping, but you really have a lot of stress that comes in through that whole avenue. So they do, and we also need to look at not only that, but you think of the mental illness within the operators themselves, the people that are running these places.
Oh.
I can only imagine owning restaurants today, of what they are and how much stress that is, and managing those locations. Like back before I started Cisco, they were stressful then, and we didn't have the enormous amount of change within it, trends that are out there, or how you need to navigate your operations today to really survive in this industry and to make a go at it and make a good living at it. The stress that comes from that is enormous, right?
And then a small mistake being posted immediately on social media, but that's a completely different comment.
Like, I can only imagine if I had this,
right.
the social media back when I was in the industry, right, in the front lines of the industry. I can only imagine what it would have been like with social media. It didn't exist when I was running restaurants,
No.
but
I think oftentimes, because in our vernacular, we talk about chefs and we talk about managers, but we also, I think this is an opportunity to recognize everybody else in the kitchen who is working on the line, the people who are working in prep, the people who are working in dish, the people who are working at the front of house. This is a type of program that is accessible to everybody. And
yes.
It's everybody whose, feet are hurting, their back are hurting, they're putting in long hours. They're there because they want to be, because they're passionate, because it's their livelihood, and it means something to them. But to have access to a program like Fair Kitchens is massive, and again, you have my support 100%.
And the last call out just regarding that is go to their site, go to fairkitchens.com, go to Unilever, find out, go on there. I think you pledge, I believe, to be a part of Fair Kitchens. So I recommend everyone that watches this, sees this, get out there, pledge, jump on Fair Kitchen, support it, because we're definitely going to keep supporting within Cisco.
We're going to do that. We'll post the link to this video as well, so that and also through our LinkedIn. So anybody who's watching this on the recording on YouTube or on LinkedIn after the live show, you'll be able to find the contact information there. I'll get that from you, Jay.
Awesome.
Okay. World domination. You're not just in Canada. We're talking going across the pond. You've got all kinds of big things in the works.
You know what? We're gonna dominate the world here soon, folks. You know what? We have a team in Palace Foods Ireland, out in Ireland. There, we did a webinar with them this fall. We're gonna do another one this spring with them as well. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring pub food, because no one knows pubs better than Ireland.
True.
I think they invented it, right? So that is where we're going to bring those ideas to you from Ireland. And we did that this past fall. And we actually brought our team in where our customers, and the best thing about our webinars, I'll let everyone in here, a little secret, is you can interact. You can talk to our guests. And that's actually, we're better than TED Talks that way, is that you can talk to the people presenting, you can ask questions, you can interact with them. And it is something that I think is outstanding. No one's doing this either across the country. And we're going to bring in Ireland, our folks across the pond, and really get them involved in what we're doing as well. And then we have the most amazing team in the U.S., right? We got 96 locations in the U.S. down there. So you think us 16, they got 96. What an amazing reach that we have when it comes to talent across North America. So we have an amazing team down there. They love joining us on our webinars too. We get everyone from Alaska to Florida on our webinars and everyone in between. I think we got some fans out in California and New York. We got them out there as well. So what an amazing team also to tap into. And then we have a team starting out in Costa Rica down there. And they're just starting, and they're going to do amazing things down in Costa Rica, as well as in Mexico too. We have a team as well. So those are more and more as we grow. You're going to see these things popping up. We also have a team in Brakes, one of the companies we own out in France and the UK. We have teams out there as well. We're going to pull those together more and more this year to really learn about what they're doing out there, get them to work with us more and more. And also, you know what, we don't know everything. We always talk about that. We don't know everything, right? But we try to find those answers for you, and we will. And we have such a connection. Like I said, there's nothing like this in the industry. And when you're able to find out an idea from our team in New York or our team in California, or we need ideas from Chicago, we can tap into those avenues, right? We can tap in what's happening down there. So if you want the best pub ideas, well, let's find out what they're doing in Chicago, right? We want wicked pizza ideas. Let's do stuff in Chicago, right? So that's what we have when we talk about global domination. Our team really does that, and it's enormous when you have that much ability to tap into those resources.
That's, again, reaching out through your network. I'm super excited to see what happens out of coming out of South America. What a palette to choose from. I have students who are from South America, and they talk about all the colors and the flavors and how they get everything fresh. And I think, oh wow, what a painter's palette to have access to, right?
Oh, incredible! But you know what's interesting? I find with them is they're going through in the industry themselves. Their customers are going through the same challenges we are in Canada, right? With depletion of labor, right? They have problems with labor. They have problems with food costs. They have problems with menu innovation. They have all the same challenges we do here in Canada in their industry. We're down there, so I find that very interesting, very fascinating. That we're so far away, but we're dealing with the same things, right? And the same thing over in Ireland. They're dealing with the same things we're dealing with. They're trying to figure out this plant-based movement that's moved into our industry recently, and trying to figure out how to use that, how to leverage that. It's amazing how far we may be within this globe, but how close we are within the situations that we're challenged with. It is amazing. It is truly amazing.
It's funny that you say that too, and it rings true. I mean, we have a show that we've just recently done this past summer with Joe Pav in Melbourne, Australia. And it's Joe and I talking about the comparisons within the industry of training and challenges and all of this, and you think, wow, this guy's on the other side of the planet, but they're still having the same. We're still having the same conversation as if he was sitting in Vancouver. It's great to be able to see how different areas are dealing with different challenges as well.
It really is. You look at this plant-based movement. We're doing a lot of lectures on this recently within our department. We do guest speaking, by the way. You can put a little tag up there. We do a lot of guest speaking across this country for different associations, different events. Is that we also want to learn about and talk about plant-based movement, because I truly believe, and this is just my opinion, that this is not going away. It's not a trend. It's a shift in our industry.
Right.
It's another area that we get to work with and explore and test. It's pretty exciting, I find, to be able to It's not going to replace beef. We know that. But it's another avenue for us to play with when it comes to food, to offer our customers or our guests another experience within the food that they have when they come into a restaurant and they're having a jackfruit grilled chicken sandwich or non-chicken, whatever it is. But to be able to offer those different experiences, plus the colors from plant-based and the vibrant look of what those are for social media, they're gorgeous, right? We're doing a couple dishes one for the CR&B show and also for the Ontario Beer and Craft Show next week. And we're doing a Reuben sandwich that we use the mac and cheese from, I think it was actually from Nestle. Sorry, if I get it wrong, they'll hang me. But Nestle, and what we did is we took some beets in there and we made this purple, beautiful sandwich that we're going to have at the show for our customers to sample on. And the first thing we thought was, how do we make it Instagram worthy, right? How can we make it worthy about social media? So when you think of that, and then you back up with what it tastes is second. It did taste good though, but it's so important that we look at plant-based not as a negative thing or a bad thing. It's just another thing we get to play with. How cool is that?
Well, the cool thing about, I had a conversation with Michael Glamsch, who's an instructor at Vancouver Premier College and also a chef from Europe. We had this great conversation where he was saying, it's going to be interesting to see what the next big thing is in the industry. And we were having a conversation about, we had just finished watching The Founder and how that great opportunity was, in that time. And my response to him was, plant-based recipes is the next thing, because the coolest thing about it is we haven't explored that deep enough. And think of the vast opportunities and the cool technologies that we have, and the new and fresh palettes that you can go into, rather than thinking, well, everything has got to have a side of meat on the plate. And a lot of people are not necessarily putting that side of meat on the plate because of food cost as well. Because if you look at, you mentioned pizza. So we look at pizza. If you've got a 22% food cost on veg pizza, and you've got a 38% food cost on a meat pizza.
Yeah, well, I know, right?
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and we talk about it industry-wide, but even for households, lots of people are going that way because it's not getting any cheaper to live.
Well, you know what, you're so true on that. And I think the thing is that it is really an opportunity for operators today to be able to balance out their menu a little bit around the food cost a little bit more by bringing some of these products in there, because we know they're going to sell. Right. We know that people are going to jump on them because they're very trendy, I guess, in a sense that it's coming around and people are getting more accustomed to testing those items. As obviously we see different products coming in the marketplace that maybe taste better, and people are figuring out, I guess the recipes are kind of getting to figure those recipes out.
Better.
They're getting better, exactly. So it really becomes a new opportunity for our customers to maybe make some more money in those areas, on those dishes, offer guests something they've never offered before. I know we did a lot of dining out this summer on plant restaurants that were just plant-based. Right. And to have some of the experiences we had, I would have never had that before, right? So I think it's a blessing for our industry. I think it's a great opportunity. I really, truly believe it's not a trend. It's a new category we get to play with. It's a new world that we get to play in there. I think beef is going to stay there. We know it's strong and it's there. It's for those people that love beef, and especially in Alberta here. But it is something that I think is a huge opportunity, and I think operators need to look at it more and more as we move forward through this industry, and to look at the generations are going to love it. And you can attach it to environmental impacts, environmental issues. You can look at it similar to maybe the straws that we just recently went through last year with the whole plastic straw world, and how bad that is on that area to move that out of our industry and to go to paper. This generation that we start to cater to and start to focus on is going to be more adapted to these ideas, which allows us to play more, allows us to have fun in our industry again. And I truly believe even the generation after that, that Gen Z that's coming up, that is, and I've done some lectures on this recently, that is really, I believe, the gift to our industry that we've been waiting for a few years, maybe for the last 30 years. right? They love eating out. They eat out more than anyone in the history, right? They love their food. They love taking pictures of it. They love experimenting,
Right.
right? They
Sharing it.
love good food too. They love good food, and they're willing to pay for it. So if you're owning, and they love sharing, they like talking at tables, they love talking to servers. Holy cow, they love skip the dishes. They love that third party delivery.
Yeah.
Like it's a blessing for our industry to have this new consumer that wants all the things that we've been trying to through the last 30 years.
I
It's
think
awesome.
even just to continue on the conversation on plant-based just for another minute, is that rather than having plant-based options on your menu, being able to integrate these things as part of the
Absolutely.
menu, as a real part of the menu, it really just shows that you're not only you're being um, trend setting, but also being um, smart about who you're inviting in, and shows your creativity in menu development. Not everything has to be attached to a meat-based protein. So
You,
when
you know
you're
what?
inviting these people in, I mean, for example, I mean, a big portion of the population in Vancouver, right? I mean, is plant based, and not necessarily socially vegan, but going plant based, and even mature consumers are going that way. So it's a great opportunity to integrate that into your menu.
You're absolutely right. And I think that's the best suggestion there is not to segregate it out of your menu in a certain area. Right? We did that a lot with vegan. I don't even remember on menus. We had like vegan entrees or vegan dishes, and we segregated it so people never really ordered it because they were like, well, there's no value in it,
Right.
right? There was very little value as we segregated that section on our menus. But now that we put them into the menu, and we same thing with plant-based, don't segregate it out. Put it in there, allow it to work beside your other dishes, right? Because they're going to complement each other, and then you're not going to have that separate area out there where people question the value of what they're going to get before questioning the quality and the taste and the flavors that they're going to get as well.
Yeah.
That's what they should be looking for on the menu, not trying to, oh, I don't want to touch it, it's over there. It's going to taste horrible, right? We want to put it right in the menu. And that's where people have to have the confidence. And that's something also our department works on a lot, is talking about those things with our customers. We do tons of menus, thousands of menus we do across, from everything from the building the recipes all the way up to the design across this country, right? We do thousands of menus a year, and we see those shifts on the menus. The big menus are gone. We see the smaller menus that are coming into play more, which I love small menus just because it means you have a smaller freezer or cooler in the fridge. Big menu means big freezer in my world. But I really believe we need to work on smaller menus, be adaptable, flexible, innovate, change stuff up within your restaurant. People are looking for that. It is where they're really starting to explore more and more of those ideas. Love it.
Well, and I preach the same thing with menu development too. I mean, how can you possibly have 60 things on your menu and be great at them all, right?
Yeah.
And you can't train your people to be great at them all either. You can't expect every dish to go out great. So if it's a smaller, more focused, more well thought out, easier to source menu, then not only is it fresher, but you can train everybody to do it great. And people don't want to read a novel.
No, they don't. When you look at that, but think about the excitement that comes from a smaller menu, right? You don't. There's no rule. I don't think I haven't came across any law that you have to stick to that menu in a restaurant.
No.
I made my restaurant menu this, and it's got 300 items or 200 items on it. I have to stick to that. There's no law out there that says you can't change it or you can't switch it up this week or whatever it is. And I think the more that you're flexible with your menu offerings, the more it draws this interest into your restaurant. And this generation, Gen Z and the millennials, they're interested in food, right? They're more savvy. They're researching stuff more and more on their phone, so you get to play more with it, right? And then you blend everything else in there, your local components, your plant-based, your raw ingredients, your clean decks, all those different things into your menu. It's beautiful.
I mean, you mentioned Gen X and millennials, but I mean, I think what's a notable mention is more mature consumers as well. I mean, and not necessarily just Gen X. Bill Clinton and Arnold Schwarzenegger both are vegetarians now, right? And they've never been in better health in their life. And not that I'm purporting to go one way or the other, but that generation is educated and is also going in that way, and they are more adventurous. And there are no more um, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no more loyal customer to a restaurant than that generation. When they find a place that they like, then
Yeah.
that's where they're going. And if you have something new to offer them and they're coming on a weekly basis, then that's a great opportunity to introduce something different.
You know, we look at like the baby boomers and the amount of shift in baby boomers diets and what they're looking at and also what they're consuming at restaurants. It's seriously, it's plant-based and more veggies,
Sure.
more salads. We see them shifting. I think it's from the research that we've got, it's more around their diet and their living, right? They want to live a bit longer, want to have less medication. All those things they're looking at. So it's really built around more of a health thing for them when it comes to those areas, which I don't disagree, but it is very exciting to see them supporting that as well. So when you dine out with your mom or your grandma, you know, we just recently had turkey in our family, and we had a vegan turkey, right? And my grandma is tasting this for the first time. So how cool was that? Is this older generation was open to having vegan turkey for Thanksgiving, right? So they're willing to try, and I think that's amazing to see that generation being able and open to it. Phenomenal.
Fantastic.
Phenomenal.
So you guys have got shows all over the country. You've got food shows all over the country. I know you just did a big thing in Toronto on the 1st of October. I'm sorry I missed it. There's a, I mean, what are some of the things that are coming up for you, Jay?
What's coming up this fall right now? Well, I'll give you kind of the map of what it looks like right now. We're so busy across this country right now with events. We do a little bit smaller shows than your typical large food shows. We did one large one out in Ontario and Toronto here a few weeks ago. But we do smaller shows within the regions and within our smaller cities that we do these smaller shows where we get to talk to our customers. Our vendor community gets to work with them closer. We really want those to be an area where you can sit down with our chefs and talk about food and taste food. In those bigger formats, it's a little bit like you just go in there, you don't get a lot of times the chance to sit and talk. People want to hear things. So we do about 150 shows across the country a year within our department, and these are smaller shows. They're intimate. We try different locations across the country as well, and we sometimes theme them. So a lot of our teams right now will be prepping and getting ready for the golf season next spring. Start working on what those ideas will be right now. We've got some sessions right now working on Christmas and really around the catering ideas, what our customers are looking for help with in catering, because that's going to change plant-based and catering. There's a whole new world, right, as well, that will blow your mind. So it is really right now for us a busy time for us to really to get our customers that support before the holiday season kicks in, and then we move into January, where for a lot of restaurants it gets quiet in January. For us, it gets busy, right? This is an area where we're doing more webinars in January, really around our customers' business acumen, right? And helping our customers understand, because we want to look at the financials for the years. People are looking at what they made for that past year. How can they make more money? How they can save money? How they can reduce their waste? All those different things. Our January hits, we hit the running right after the holidays. And then we get into show season coming up in the spring, and then we get into the summer months from there on. So there's never a dull moment, I guess, across our country within what we do. And then associations. I said earlier we're doing a couple in the next few weeks here in Ontario, and then we're also doing the Culinary Federation is one of our partners that we work very close with and support them. We work with them a lot in all the chapters across the country. Our teams are supporting them. A lot of chefs are part of their organization. We support them in their national conference. This year in Saskatoon, they're holding their conference there. We're going to be right there with them, supporting them within guest speaking as well as the shows and different things that we're going to do with them. So there's never really a dull moment, and I don't think we ever stop doing what we do on top of that. So it is pretty cool.
So if anybody's watching this, to find information on how to get involved in these shows and how they can attend, and maybe it's not a part of your social media loop because you're so busy running your restaurant or stuck in your kitchen, the best thing to do is to ask your rep. Is that right, Jay?
Ask your rep. We got market associates at Cisco, your sales rep. Talk to them about how you get to use this system, how you get involved within this business resource community. How do you really leverage all the resources you have from your supplier like us and use our teams that we have across this country? You know, I see a lot of customers will come in the past and tell us their problems, and we help them with them. And then they go back to their restaurants and the freezer breaks down. And then they go back into their old mindset of, oh boy, I'm in the weeds again, and how do I get out of it? We're here to help. We don't just visit you once a year. We want to work with you throughout the year. We don't just feed you and then off you go. We want to be involved. So work with your sales rep, get involved with them, ask them how to use this system, use these tools, make a part of it your business model. That was the best. In the past, we'd have customers in here every quarter talking about what they need to work on within their menus. Let us do the heavy lifting on that. Let us work with your menus on that. Like when you look at it, how do you today's world with this fast-paced environment sit there and innovate 10 dishes within your own restaurant? How would you do that today? Right? That's very hard to do. If you ever worked and ran a restaurant and worked in a kitchen, when do you have the time to innovate as a chef in today's world?
Or to go and learn something new.
And learn something new. Exactly. Learn something new, learn new products, and come into an unbiased location where you're not just getting an ideation from one person's perspective or company, but you're allowing us to do all that heavy lifting and then present you an array of dishes. And then you walk away going, I want that one, or I want all of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to apply that into my restaurant, and I know the cost of what they're going to be. I know how much I'm going to make off of them. I know how many I have to sell to make this much money.
Yeah.
We do all that for you. You just got to come in and give your time, tell us what you need help with, and we do the rest from there on. Like, I wish I had this. That's why we have it today. I wish I had this when I was running restaurants, right? I'd probably still be doing that.
Exactly. Again, to have it as a national resource, and again, it's the biggest consulting department in the country by proxy.
From coast to coast, you bet.
Exactly. We've touched on lots of stuff today. When we touched on the webinar, we touched on the fair kitchens, talked about regions and all the different things that you guys do, which are amazing. Anything else you'd like to add today? I mean, of course, we're going to have Jay on off and on throughout the year. He's as hard to get a hold of as the Queen, but
this guy.
Exactly. Well worth the wait.
You know, I think the biggest thing is, one, I just want to make sure everyone that is on the call today and is going to see this videos, we have a webinar coming up October 30th on frozen seafood. And we're going to show you how to make profits out of it, how to make money out of it, how to really make sure it's a sustainable practice. Highliner's coming on there. Chef George is going to shoot from New Jersey, from his kitchen in New Jersey. So we have that October 30th, which is pretty cool. And we have some amazing guests lined up to the end of the year. And then we'll be starting again in January. So please join those webinars. Jump on Cisco.ca or go to our Facebook page, Instagram page, LinkedIn page. We're all on social media and we advertise our webinars across this country. Please join in them. Like I said, you can talk to the guests. There's some cool stuff with Ireland this spring, but you can talk with the guest and really interact with them. And we want to make sure that we're also showing you topics that are relevant to the industry today, all right, and that you need to know about today, right, and how to handle them and how to get through them and how to work with them. So that's really something I want to shout out on. But also want to shout out just my team. You know, you guys, it's the best life in the world to have a team. To across this country, they're just amazing. So, woo.
Take a drink, Jay. Take a bow. Nicely done. And thank you for taking the opportunity, because I know you're super busy, for doing the show with us and for inviting us into your world and for taking the time to come over into ours. I think it's a great opportunity for small business owners, large business owners, people who, like you say, are stuck in their restaurant, working in their own day-to-day, blinders on, to learn new things, ask questions, to be able to come to your events, to even to invite you in. I know you just did a keynote talk with OPA in Calgary a couple weeks ago when we met. To be able to have access to somebody like Jay Ashton is massive. So the opportunity to pick his brain and his team and all that he has access to is just huge. Thanks so much, Jay, for doing this and for taking the time.
No, thank you again. It's awesome, right? Like, what a cool industry to be a part of, and to be able to do these talks and to talk with you, Jason. Thank you so much for this, and thank you, Unilever, for what you're doing also with the Fair Kitchens. Shout out to them and their amazing team. And yeah, there's just not a better industry to be a part of.
And again, with the links, those are going to be on the recorded version after we do a little post-production. So on YouTube, you can find us on Real Hospitality Live. You can find all the information on our website, realhospitality.live. Again, my guest today has been Jay Ashton, who we could sit and talk for hours and hours and hours. He's the National Business Resource Lead for Sysco Canada. And again, thanks so much for your time. And shout out to Chris, who's in the background there. Hey, Chris, thanks for all your hard work and helping get set up as well.
Here's my work wife.
Did he run off? There's my buddy. Hey.
Thanks, Jace.
Awesome.
Thanks again, gentlemen. And Jay, I mean, of course, I'd love to have you on some upcoming panels. And we're about to go live on LinkedIn soon over the next week. So we're going to get you involved in some of those things as well. So it's a great opportunity for Q&As for all of our LinkedIn followers as well. 31,000 people following on LinkedIn today. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thanks again. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.